Welcome to session 36. In the last session, we talked about the uh, qualifying and quantifying measures uh, to use for the observation of change patterns uh, so that a Taoist could identify the historical trend to form a strategy, and then that would lead to hopefully a series of better decisions followed by the proper action and inactions, uh, so that a projected objectives could be engineered and delivered to achieve the designated results. Now, in this session, I will address the first category of the third sentence, which is basically those heartfelt part that does not require any analysis, which actually, make those, I guess, any kind of analysis inadequate. Why is that? Personally, I think, uh, regardless the education and upbringing, some people are more, I guess, sentimental, if that's the word, for lack of a better word, and than others, right? Some people can feel more uh, sympathy as well as empathy, than other people, and some people are more delicate, okay, than others, a little more fragile around, and they actually think often for others, and lots of time put others before themselves. And this I'm talking about, between family, the loved ones, and of course, in return, they do intentionally or unconsciously anticipate, the return from the loved ones that they care so much, and not everybody is in the same capacity though. Some people, have days going by with or without ever thinking so much, uh, in I guess in a delicate the delicate way to attend all the very I guess little details, but actually carrying more significance to those more delicate people, right? Some have more fragile hearts than others. So there is the little world analysis. Yeah, you can go see your shrink and talk to your shrink about it if you actually need one. Of course, people learn, I guess, get acquainted with the Taoism teachings, may or may not even need a shrink. But let's say you go talk to your shrink about, this problem I have. Uh, the way I look at it, there are two sides of this. One, let's say you are a more delicate person than average, that put yourself in this, I guess, place. Lots of time you are more vulnerable, right? Nevertheless, if you spend some time and effort on Taoism teaching, maybe that could help you, so that you can see not everybody is the same. No, some people, just because they don't attend as much as you would like, that does not mean they don't care for you, they don't care about you. But then on the other hand, the other side is simply you have much more capacity for the heartfelt choose. Okay, you're just simply a more sentimental, right? Uh, a piece of music may or may not produce the tear, you know, for everyone, but you do. A poem, beautifully written and very sentimental, and you just feel so touched. It may or may not have the same effect on others. So what does all this say? It has nothing to do, personally, I believe, it has nothing to do with any analysis. Well, basically, you are who you are what you are, but is that what you are? You don't need to, analyze that. Basically, you're simply just more sentimental, okay? So to be around you as your best friend or as your family member, people basically just need to realize you are a category of person actually require higher maintenance for friendship or I guess affection. People need to be a little more mindful when it comes to the wording of the expressions around you, or even little simple gesture, body language, because it could be more complicated on your part as far as how you feel about those. So that part, like I said, yeah, you can run all the psychiatric analysis, whatever, but personally, I would prefer or recommend, more Taoism teaching studies, right? So that you can, I guess, find the peace the peace with yourself by recognizing and accepting the differences between yourself and others. A lot of them, they do love you, okay, as friend or as a family member, but they don't necessarily uh, carry the same thought, in the same way, bearing uh, manner uh, as you do around everything, right? So I know this for a fact because, at my age or my stage of my life, I guess, encountered a lot of different things and people through many, many different, I guess, occasions. So for me, I'm just speaking straight out of experience. And this is something I do believe falls into the category of what we just talked about, from the third sentence of the opening paragraph of Dao De Jing, which is basically there's a lot of magical movement, that the moments that you really just I guess that is heartfelt in a very delicate and sophisticated way. um, it's beyond analysis, right? But I think it's everything has the positive, the negative, two sides, and that I think is for me, I think it's actually a quality. Equality. It's almost people born with because you care more about people, right? And you cannot even control yourself. You just cannot help. A lot of time you put others before yourself for the loved ones, and you also reach out to the other people, totally, perfect strangers. That's because basically that's who you are and what you are, right? And that part, one, I don't think you can do much to change yourself. And two, I don't even believe you need to change yourself. You are just who you are. But for you to be, happier, you need to understand other people's are not necessarily the same way. Even though, let's say, your siblings brought up, in the same household, pretty much exactly the same upbringing, uh, or your friends, all the way from kinder all the way to, let's say, universities, all the way through, always be around you. You have exact the same education, but a different upbringing. And the friendship is, evident, just not enough for you because you complain, because you think they failed here and there. And so, what's the result of all this? You become very sad, right? It's like, oh, this world. I put myself out there for everybody, but no one really just care about me. I mean, are you still going to be happy? No. So if you actually, learn the differences and accept it, then you could be happier. The sooner, the happier you are, right? So that is what I personally guess I could relate to the first part of the third sentence of this book. Whereas, again, I do think those delicate heart, quote unquote, are unique and of great quality. I mean, if you were born with that, celebrate that. But you do need some, I guess, compensations along the way to, I guess, to understand, to comprehend the differences between different hearts and the way they express themselves. I think both the Chinese and the traditional Texans, I guess the ancient Chinese and traditional Texans, I guess value more about how you act than how you, I guess, verbally express, right? A lot of time, yeah, you hear people say, "Oh, I love you," and that's a very commonly heard expression everywhere. And if you pay a little more I guess attention, you notice the Brits always say, "Oh, my love," just to almost everyone. And one time when I was much younger, I remember one of my colleagues in a workplace, I guess somewhat older lady. She just called everybody honey or pumpkin pie. There's very sweet references. Do they mean well? Yes, they did. But I guess where I come from, it's more about how you show with your actions and inactions, right? How much do you care about people around you? Where actions are needed and you show through the actions, where the inactions are absolutely proper and you did so accordingly. So all that basically mounting to, I guess the care, how much and how it is a display for different kinds of hearts. The more delicate one and the less delicate ones, so all that, we're just talking about the heartfelt part, right? And so for Taoism teachings, the whole system, you need to recognize that. So in the first two sentences we talked about, it was basically Taoism teaching touches on more of we don't know what we don't know. But the third sentence here also tells you sometimes we don't even have to know what we don't know, right? We don't have to. Because, a lot of time you just need to have the, I guess, common wisdom so that you can acquire the peace of your own mind by, this little acknowledge of the differences between different the minds, right? So I guess in conclusion, uh, on our, I guess, study of the third sentence here is we do have two different, I guess, categories. One is more mindful, and the other is more associated with the brain, which is more, I guess, qualitative and quantitative, and not a lot, analysis. Whereas the mindful part, it's all about your, heartfelt. How do you feel? And both carry the, I guess, same significance, or same, I guess, amount of significance. Um, you cannot have one to replace the other. Uh, that they both have to be regarded equally. And so, if you think in the way of the contemporary Western school of science, in terms of that, I guess it's probably about your left brain and the right brain, right? One is more, I guess, associated with the creative, artistic creativeness, and the other is more about the, I guess, inventional thinking, somewhat relate to the either, science or technologies. Both are equally important, right? So these are the two things I believe the third sentence of Dao De Jing, or the third sentence of the opening paragraph of Dao De Jing is talking about, right? The left brain, the right brain, artistic creativeness, and then the scientific and technological inventions. So if we have both, I guess, developed at, good pace, we could contribute more to the society, more to the humankind. I personally don't really hold that citizenship that seriously, because, hey, you're just a member of a bigger community beyond the border. So I don't really. I think it's kind of course, this is not in the current political trend, which is popularism. But you have to want to be popular, right? I don't care about the popular. So for me, being an American, or being a Chinese, or being a, let's say, German, French, or Russian, or Japanese, or Korean, does it matter? Yes, it does. But I think you still want to make the contribution to the humankind, to the society, rather than to a particular state. In this so-called patriotism. I don't want to talk down about patriotism. I think I actually am a very proud Texan. Okay, I am proud of Texas, because even though I was not born and raised here, I believe this is the part people hold a little bit higher moral ground in knowing more, right from wrong. So as far as the patriotism goes, I am a very proud Texan. Okay, but do I really believe in this "Make America Great" or "America First"? I think it works counterproductive, because when everybody think themselves first, we'll see how that goes. Nobody's going to get ahead of other people by competing to be the first. You have to work together with each other, and if you totally work in complete disregard of other side or other sides, yeah, we have seen how that works. I'll give you some example here. This is a little off the subject, but I guess I don't want to stop here. Um, I mentioned it before. Because of American protectionism, uh, we don't have merchant marines showing American flags. Because the American protectionism, and this is long before old Donald in the White House, okay? That was when he was much younger. And because of the American protectionism, our shipbuilding industry today in America basically reduced to, the military ship building orders, right? So, yeah, that's the result of, protectionism. You do you think the American lawmakers don't know about that? I think they do, but I don't know if they're Taoists, but they are definitely following the political trend. Okay, whatever's popular, get them to vote, they will do it. And I guess this is supposedly how the American democracy works, right? Uh, is that relevant to the third sentence of Dao De Jing in the opening paragraph? Not necessarily, but I'm just extending that to make a point. And the point here is what? You actually, in your heart, you feel what's right, right? And you do uh, analyze the trend, and then you follow the trend and you form your strategy. So in this case, that was the political strategy formed by the American politicians, and they do lots of actions. Should they have some inactions? If you ask me, that's totally different from how they performed, but obviously nobody's going to ask me, right? But at least I guess I proved they analyze the political going trend, and they're following the trend, and that obviously get them the votes. The constituencies do not analyze, I guess. They go with their heart, right? That's where the political system is. The politicians, they fish for the votes from the voters who go with their heart. And the politicians, all they do is basically the precision oriented calculations. It's a piece of, I guess, a machine or a system. Pretty much just works, very mathematically. The statistics works, and that's basically the two things. Heartfelt vote to go with my heart. Oh, I feel either old Donald or somebody else is the right candidate for president. By the way, why? Oh, don't ask me why. I just feel like he's or she's the right guy, or I mean, he's the right guy, or she's the right lady. Heartfelt, and then the other side, they're looking at the statistics. Okay, how many Latins in this state? How many Asians? How many Caucasians? How many African Americans? So what is it that is, their verbally expressed concerns that would constitute my agenda, not agenda for the political action, but agenda for the banners, slogans to, basically appeal to those different voter, subgroups. So I get elected, right? But of course, if you don't have the money, you will never be put in the front. But just because you have money, you're still not going to succeed, because you need the money plus the political connections working together to push you to the front, right? The front runners. Do you think all those wise and better people out there could have become the candidates without money, without connections? Oops. That's not how American democracy works. I'm sorry. I thought it was, but not today. So anyway, that went a little far. I'm going to wrap up here, okay? So until next session, ciao.